could be alone between city lights. We don't have to hide. I wanna go, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in a secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? I can't understand why we can't hold hands, but they don't know what we have is real love. Aren't you sick and tired of having to hide? I know a place, do you wanna follow? There's something in the air, I can't explain it, but it's there. Ain't nobody gonna find us in a secret love affair. I don't wanna have to hide no more, it shouldn't be unfair. I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow? Do you wanna follow? Baby, do you wanna follow? Come with me, do you wanna follow? Baby, can't you see that? I wanna go, and I wanna know, do you wanna follow?
What's up, you guys? Happy Sunday. Welcome to the stream. Oh yeah, you're getting a little bit of a preview of the shark bite. And yes, the review of this is coming to my channel. The full review. It's like a 30-minute long video. Yeah, but there was a lot to say about shark bite. And I hope that you, like I say in the label below this video, you're watching a live stream and it is getting mangled by the freaking YouTube compression. So yeah, wait till you see the video. I will give a link to the actual raw download and you can really see it. So whoo, happy Sunday. Hang on a second, I gotta get something ready. Is my camera on? Hang on, I just put my off-air card here for a second. Oh. Just gotta pour myself a soda. I don't have a stir. Hold on a second. Okay. Oh, that's a mess. One time I don't have a towel in my freaking room. Okay. Oh, here we go. There's a face mask. That'd be pretty rude to wipe off, use my Rotor Riot face mask as a towel. That'd be pretty disrespectful. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. Yeah. It is, it's that time. It is, we've gone from shorts weather to sweatpants weather. And if I got a little blue on this side of my face, it's because it's so beautiful out that the window is open and the fresh air is coming in. But, Coelho FPV. I have been really focusing lately on trying to, I mean, you know, spring cleaning is traditional, but I've been really focusing on kind of doing like a fall cleaning, trying to knock my house into shape. I got a whole calendar of cleaning stuff. So, whew. What'd y'all think of that shark bite footage? Reserve judgment. I'm going to give a link to the actual the raw shark bite footage that you can download so you can actually see what it looks like and you can judge. But there's a lot going on with shark bite. The question is not, I'm going to ruin the review. The question is not, is shark bite as good as DJI? The question is it enough better than analog to get people who DJI doesn't serve to switch? Okay. Coming tomorrow. There we go. That's pretty good. Is there a crack? Is that a crack? No, it's just a seam. It's just a seam. Okay, good. Welcome. Welcome to the stream, you guys. In case you're new here, here's what's going on. Check it out. This is what I got going on. You guys are going to ask. This is basically everybody's favorite part of a live stream, is answering and interacting with the streamer. I'm not going to waste your time with gaming or any of that nonsense. I'm just going to answer your questions and then chat with you guys. So that's what we're going to do. And here's where you're going to ask questions. Yes. Yes, it is. See, that's how it's going to go. Is there a date for the Ghost giveaway winners? Yes, it already happened. I already announced it. If you didn't see the Ghost giveaway winners, did I post a video? Oh, hold on. Hold on. Hang on a second. The Ghost giveaway winners. Did I not? No, look. October 11th, my friend. October 11th. Thank God. I was like, did I announce the giveaway and not post the actual... Did I give the prizes away without actually posting the announcement? No, I did it. And if you... Can I just say... If you didn't know, every month I do a giant new product roundup and giveaway. And I give away like $500-700 worth of stuff to like typically. And that's coming up because the new month has started. If you don't want to miss that, you need to be subscribed. I don't usually shill for subscriptions, but this guy's saying, hey, did you announce the winners yet? Well, if you were subscribed and hit that notification bell, you would know. Just saying. So I'm going to be answering your questions. And on top of that, I'll be hanging out here with my patrons. These guys over here on my Discord server are my patrons. Pappy says the shark bite shows promise without having Big Brother DJI telling me where I can and can't fly. The DJI FPV system has no positional awareness at this time, so can't do it. FPV4 Live wants to know IRC Ghost or TBS Tracer. I'll talk about that in a second. Look at this. Look at all these questions going by with me not answering them because they're coming by too fast. If you want to make sure that I get your question, hit this $sign right down here at the bottom of the chat. It'll call your question out as a super chat, and I will definitely get to it. And it's a great way to contribute. Okay. Tracer versus Crossfire versus Ghost. Very good question. TBS. Oh, this feels like news, doesn't it? Do you know how at the beginning of most live streams I do a news segment? People really enjoy the news segment, but I do 2 live streams a week, and I don't really like doing the news twice. So I am officially launching this week a new live stream segment. It's going to be Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern. And I'm going to be partnering with It's Blunty, if you know him. He did my last new product roundup with me. People seem to think we had some chemistry, and I just think he's pretty smart and just brings a lot to the show. So I said, Blunty, listen, will you be in charge of like producing a news segment once a week for my channel? Obviously, I'm going to participate in producing it, but so we're starting this week. Patrick, It's Blunty, FPV, and me on Tuesday at 6 p.m. It's already scheduled, and you can check it out. And one of the things we will be talking about is Tracer versus Crossfire versus Ghost. Oh, yeah. We'll be talking about that stuff. and more. Okay. Oh, gosh. Is Tuesday election night? 507RC reminding me that Tuesday is election night. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. Huff19, Alex, my imaginary producer, didn't get fired. What Blunty is doing is more producer in the sense of helping to write the show and plan the show, as opposed to Alex, my imaginary producer, who gets blamed whenever my live stream screws up. He is more a producer in the sense of, like, you know, running the levels and switching the cameras, and I guess that makes him more like a director. Anyway. You can watch my live stream while you watch the election results come in, and either cheer or cry, depending on which side you're on. Don't go there. Don't you talk about politics in my live stream chat. Anybody got their Quadbox yet? Has anybody gotten their Quadbox yet? They shipped about, I don't think so. They shipped like 3 days ago. Quadbox is going to be very interesting this month. I have a very interesting reveal this month. I'm not sure I'm going to talk about it yet, but if you got your Quadbox, you know. No! Grumpy FPV. No politics in the stream. Time out. No politics in the stream. Stop it. None. Stop it. You guys are all going to get timed out. Moderators. Every single person doing that, time them out. Time every single person who's saying either party, so-and-so, no. Time every single one of them out. No bans, but timeouts, 100%. Don't do it. Don't do it. That's not what... My goal is to bring everybody together under the umbrella of FPV. We're going to leave that shit outside. We're going to enjoy our time together, and we're going to find common ground. Okay. Yeah, Ciati 2020. That's okay. That's okay. So nobody's gotten their Quadbox. Okay, great. Well, I guess I guess I have nothing to say about this thing that is coming. Okay, I see. I just checked. Wednesday, the thing is going to get announced. So, waiting for people to get their Quadboxes. No comment then. All right, well then. No news. Tune in Tuesday night for the news. Obviously, you'll be able to watch the replay. You'll be able to watch the replay. If you miss it, it'll be on my channel. But if you want to participate, we are doing it as a live stream. Because I really I watch the LAN show, or the WAN show with Linus Tech Tips. And I think people really dig the live participation. Insta360 X2. No Insta360 X2 review. Where's my Insta360 X2? It's back there on the table. I could get up and get it. Hold on. The least I could do is freaking show it to you guys after they send it to me. So Insta360 reached out to me some weeks ago and said, hey, we have a new thing coming out. Do you want to see it? I was like, sure. So they sent me this. This is the Insta360 X2. And they were like, will you review it? And I was like, well, I mean, the thing is, this doesn't go on a quad, does it? Maybe, like, you could build, like, a Stan FPV Cinebird to hold it. But the Insta360 1R is really the Insta360 for quads. I really want to see how this gets integrated into quads before I... Because I'm not, like, you know the channel Potato Jet. He's really awesome. He does photography, camera, movie cameras, video camera reviews. Potato Jet, perfect person to review this because he's just going to take it from the perspective of a camera. But I don't really do camera reviews. That's not why you guys come to me. So I got to think about how to present this from the perspective of a quadcopter and FPV perspective. It is really solid. It's really well built. Like, you hold it in your hand, it is really nice to hold. It's very well made. I really like it. But I got to figure out how to review it for my channel. So, Insta should make a cam with replaceable lenses, Martin, like the Insta360 X2. You can replace the lenses on the Insta360 X2. iFlight Crystal, Copter Flights wants to know about the iFlight Crystal. Let's show that. iFlight Crystal it's similar to the Luminaire Axi HD, but the Luminaire Axi HD sticks to the front of the goggles with like 3M tape. The Luminaire Crystal, hello. Oh, hang on a second. I gotta pause this frickin'. What are you doing? Pause. 2 hours. Can we load? By the way, I for those of you who tuned in to last week's live stream, which got ruined by my son downloading a game on Steam, which killed my internet, I have tweaked my internet and given him a bandwidth limit and turned on quality of service to try to prevent that from happening again. So hopefully the stream will be smooth today. Why is this page not loading? So the iFlight Crystal is built in to the front plate. It's a replacement front plate. I can't decide which of these I like better. The built-in or the fact that it sticks on and it kind of, I don't know. It's as far as antenna performance goes, I don't have to look at the specs, but they're probably pretty similar. Don't know. I will say I like the Axi HD antenna way better than the iFlight antenna, and I'll tell you why. No, that's not right. This is what I want. And I don't know if they did this because I suggested this, but I did suggest this to them. And I will now just take credit, because why not? No one can prove that I didn't cause this. The DJI antennas have this shoulder right here. Look at this little shoulder here that seats against the goggle, and it prevents the built-in SMA connector from twisting. And I said to Luminaire, you got to build that shoulder into it. Whereas the iFlight one, it just has an SMA connector sticking out the back. So if you twist it on, you see it doesn't really seat up against the goggle. This is going to be the same problem. So I do like the Axi better than the iFlight one, which is just an SMA connector as far as I can tell. The iFlight one comes in some really cool skins, though. I totally dig that. So, what's the real world range on the Tracer? We don't know. Well, the testers say it has lots of range. Real world tests. My standard is that Control Link needs to outrun video, and at that point I don't care. Alexander Romanenko wants to know if I would have build kits on my website. Alexander, funny that you asked that. Right here on the front page, the very front page of my website, I have 2 build kits suggested. Right here on the very front page. So I do have that. There you go. Yeah. Is it better to have the patch on the bottom of the goggles or the top? Asks Ravel FPV. Ravel, I don't know whether there is a RF-based benefit one way or the other. In my testing, patch on the bottom did better. And the reason, I think, is that raising the Omnis that 6 inches higher above your head gives them just a little better coverage overall. Whereas the patch, it doesn't matter. The patch antenna is in the same location regardless of whether you screw it into the top or the bottom. So I do patch on bottom, Omnis on top. And especially if you have the long Omnis, definitely on top. Yeah, Archimedes points out in the Discord, Trappy said Tracer was specifically made to outrun video. Yep, that's the goal. So, penetration and range are the same thing, Drone Droid. Penetration and range are more or less the same thing. The same characteristics that cause an RF signal to go a long distance in open space also cause it to penetrate better through obstacles. Because here's the thing. RF signals, for the most part, don't care what they're moving through. For example, now, hang on. The propagation speed is different in different media. So in outer space, in a vacuum, the signal moves at the speed of light. in water, in concrete, through different media, the signal slows down or speeds up based on the propagation speed through the media. But it doesn't care. It's not like, oh, I'm moving through the air and I'll go super fast, but then this one substance affects this one frequency particularly. Now, there are some exceptions to that. For example, the 2.4 gigahertz radiation is very close to like the resonant frequency of a water molecule. I don't know, pardon me for getting some of the engineering details wrong, but 2.4 gigahertz is particularly affected by moisture. Okay, so going from 2.4, if you are in an environment with lots of moisture, you will get less penetration through water with 2.4 gig. So that the rule that in general penetration and range are the same thing is not always true, but it is usually true with a few exceptions. So when you say, yeah, but how's the penetration? The range is good. A signal that's going to get you 50 kilometers of range is probably also going to get you lots of penetration. And a signal that's going to get you 2 kilometers of range is probably also going to get you less penetration. There are very few exceptions to that rule. So, anyway, we will talk more about Tracer and Crossfire on the Tuesday live stream. So definitely tune in for that. Let me get some of these super chats out of the way. There are super chats coming in. If you're new here, I get the super chats. I don't read them always as soon as they come in, but I do try to get all of them. And we'll start with the Day at the Range. Thank you, Day at the Range, for $5. Always very generous on the super chats. A Minor Threat 99 thanks for $5. I'm about to pull the trigger on DJI goggles and a Vista unit. Should I do that or wait for SharkBite? I really don't want to spend all that money. A Minor Threat, I hate to tell you this, but you're going to have to wait until tomorrow. Tomorrow I will release on my channel the SharkBite review, and you can decide for yourself. I will say this. If money is not a concern, I think most people are going to be happier with DJI because most people are not ultra latency sensitive, and that is the main reason, other than money, that SharkBite wins. When money becomes a concern, then you start asking the question, is SharkBite a better value for me? Dollars per experience. And for that, you're going to have to watch the video and see what you think. David Lay, thank you for $10. Is the camera that comes with the SharkBite bundle the Runcam Racer 4? Yes, it is. How much it's a digital version of the Runcam Racer 4. How much can the quality improve? I don't know about that because like DJI, the camera that DJI is using is not like some magical camera. It's a CMOS camera, but the DJI image looks really freaking good. And maybe it's that DJI has tuned that camera somehow. Maybe it has higher resolution. I don't know, but I do think that the image, well, you saw the YouTube compressed version of the image. It definitely, I will say for me, it didn't have that knock your socks off feeling like the first time you looked in DJI goggles. Can you use a DJI camera on SharkBite? No, you cannot. Ben T, thank you for a $10 super chat. What are Quadbox? Quadbox is a subscription box where you pay a monthly subscription. You get a random box full of stuff every month. Did Fat Shark tell you what the final price of SharkBite will be? Yes, 507RC. The pricing is in the video that will come out tomorrow. So I'm going to save it for that. Final price is not $250 and a P. $250 was for this bundle. This bundle that was sold through Get FPV. And sorry, I got a freaking little piece of something here. This bundle actually all sold out, so that's gone. But the bundle with the receiver, the camera, and a single VTX was $250. DJI does have a higher frame rate drone racer compared to SharkBite. DJI is 120 hertz, at least in the high quality mode. It's 120 hertz. In low latency mode, the other way. In low latency, it's 120 hertz. Steele said flight quality was better on analog than DJI. Anna P. I can't speak to what Steele said. Steele has said a lot of things. I would say that whatever Steele says right now, take it with a grain of salt, because he has started the DJI transition. And here's how the transition to DJI goes for a DJI hater. DJI sucks. It's not that good. The latency sucks. It's expensive. DJI is probably going to steal all your information. Analog is the best. Low latency. There's plenty of resolution. I don't need DJI. I'm fine. Hey, buddy, try this. Just try it. Just put it on your face. Look at it. It looks pretty good. Anyway, 1 week later. So I've been flying DJI a little bit. It's pretty good. Analog still has its place. It still has its place, but DJI has its place too. 2 months later, no, I don't fly analog anymore. So Steele is. So I mean, I'm not trying to like. I've seen this. He could be the exception. Steele is exactly the kind of person who would like freaking keep flying analog and have a freaking record player and freaking manual shift car, naturally aspirated. He drives but he drives a Tesla too. He's the kind of guy who would, if he thought analog really was better, he'd keep flying it. But I've seen too many people just get sucked in with DJI, and then the problem is that once your brain gets used to that high definition image, analog looks like shit, and you just don't want to fly it anymore. And I don't think I think so. He's like, yeah, the flight quality's good, but it still has its place. But just give it time. It's my opinion. Steele only switched because his friends fly DJI and analog doesn't mix with it. No, he switched. No, I'm just talking out my ass. I'm sorry. He switched because it's better. And he realized it's better. It's not better in every way, but it's better enough. And all his friends switched and they were telling him it was better. And I'm going to guess that if I were a professional, I would be seeing guys like Umagod and Paul Nurkala showing directors high definition images and think, oh, my crappy analog image looks like crap compared to that. There's many reasons. Anyway, we're not going to make this whole live stream about Mr. Steele switching to DJI. You go hassle him about that. Austin, next. Thank you for $5 super chat. Chukka FPV, thank you for $5 Australian dollars. Thoughts on the iFlight Beast series? Yeah, what the F is the iFlight Beast? By the way, new product roundup coming this month on my channel. We will be talking about this. Look at this. Did you see this? iFlight. What did you do, iFlight? You can't do iFlight. This is not okay. You can't build, you can't build a 55 amp H7 all-in-one. You can't put an H7 on an all-in-one. What are you? With metal? Are those metal FETs? iFlight. Is this the ultimate toothpick flight controller? First of all, why do you need 55 amps on this thing? This isn't for toothpicks. You could practically fly a 5-inch on this, could you? Most of these toothpick flight controllers, they say, don't fly this on a 5-inch, really. This is for ultralight builds. But what the F? I don't know. Time will tell. Time will tell whether it actually holds up. But I'm incredibly impressed that they actually even did it. Ciati says 5-inch builds will be all-in-ones by 2021. We'll see. We'll see. See, the thing is, if you pop a FET, now you're out $90. The price has to come down. It's not worth it to me to not have to have 2 boards instead of 1 and to run a wire. I'd rather replace a $45 or $50 ESC than a $90 flight controller. Drook282. Thank you for €5. Which antennas are the best for the Ishin EV300O? I got recommendations for antennas on my website. The Vaz Ion is a great Omni antenna. The True RC X Air is a great one. The Vaz Crosshair Extreme is another good one. I've been using the LZR Mini antenna from Immersion RC, which is highly directional, but it was a really good antenna. Those are some great choices. Racer Star already made AIOs, but they're just crappy. These may actually be good. Okay, we're caught up. We're caught up. Ruben Graham, I have to tell you, Ruben Graham is asking about the hoodie in my Teespring store. I have a Teespring store which has original merch from FPV artists. I'm doing a new product every month with a new piece of original art. I do have hoodies on here. By the way, I hear you guys. Some of you guys asked for zip-up hoodies. I have not gotten a chance to go back and add them yet. I will be doing zip-up hoodies for people who prefer zip-ups. And he asked, is the premium worth it over the classic? I have to tell you, I ordered one premium for myself just to see what it was like. I didn't actually order a classic, so I could not tell you, honestly. I'm so sorry. I'm like, what? I mean, this is, I guess I should really know that if I really cared about my merch line. But I mostly care about the art and finding interesting art. And then I'm just like, I don't know, I guess they're t-shirts, right? Who cares? Maybe that's not the right way to be. But the premium is very nice. I haven't personally bought the classic, so I just don't know the answer. Sorry about that. Thank you for asking. Give me a chance to plug it. I'll be honest with you guys. No. We're not going to do it. We're not going to just make the whole stream talking about Mr. Steele switching to DJI. Who cares? Who cares? Welcome to the party. We've all been here for a year. Oh, it's like you show up. You're working for a whole year. Nobody's like everybody, and then oh, whoa, he got here now. Now the party can start. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Can the party start now that he's here? Some of us started partying a year ago. Sorry you. Oh, but at the same time, you love it. You love it. What's Mr. Steele doing? What did he have for breakfast? What, he had granola for breakfast? Mr. Steele had granola for breakfast. You guys, Mr. Steele had granola. I thought he didn't eat granola. Didn't he say that granola gave him indigestion? I thought he ate eggs for breakfast. No, he doesn't eat eggs. He's a vegetarian. What? We gotta find out. Mr. Steele, I'm switching to granola for breakfast. 250,000 views. 1 year ago. Hey, you guys, I think granola is pretty good. Granola, shill, Rotor Riot, and Bardwell are shills for big granola. Granola sucks. 1 year later, Mr. Steele's switching to granola. Oh. Whatever. Hey, Halfboard, this is the stream. You don't like it? This is the stream, my friend. This is it. Hey, Ciati. What's this? I flew it. Ciati sent me a quad. I flew it. It's an interesting tune. It flies pretty good. There you go. Hey, for those of you guys asking if I was going to review the Diatone Roma 5, yes, I have it. For those of you guys asking if I was going to review the new HobbyMate D6 Lite, No one asked that. Oh, yeah, I got it. What the F is this? You guys, what is this? Atomic, who is Atomic RC? I got the, oh, by the way, I got the Skyzone Skyo 4X. I'm gonna be reviewing those too. What is this? This came with it. Like, this is a, I don't even know how it flies, but geez, look at it. I want to freaking put it on a chain around my neck. There we go. What's my main TX right now, Icy Bird? Radio Master TX16S Max is my main. What about thoughts about the titanium 5-inch frame on Get FPV? Synthetic asks in the Discord. I talked about the titanium frame in last month's new product roundup. The takeaway, it is the, what is it? Oh, apparently there's more than one. Go figure. Stop. What the there it is. The Zebroid Prometheus. Long story short, maybe it's a good frame, but it's $170 and it weighs like 180 grams. It's not light. I'm not flying any 180 gram 5-inch frame. I don't care what else it brings. 186 grams. I don't care what else it brings to the table. It's 186 grams and it costs almost $200. Forget it. Not interested. That's not true, Ciati. It would have taken a lot for me to say it blew my mind. I am impressed with your tune. I noted many interesting things about your tune, Ciati. It was impressed. I feel like there are lessons to be taken from your tune. It flies good. The thrust linear makes it freak out when you hit things at low throttle, which I kind of don't like. And it has, I think, I didn't check this, but I think you turned the feed forward way down. So it feels like the rates are lower. When I move the stick, it feels like the rates are lower. So it's kind of like, huh, what's going on here? Oh, I hope every time Mr. Steele breathes a word about me, people fill my inbox and they're like, did you hear what he said? And I hope that every time I talk about him on a live stream, people go and they're like, did you hear what Bardwell said? Like, I hope that goes both ways. What about Ciati's bird? More details. It is a slammed 15 millimeter standoff. It is Kebab's frame. It's the Hyperlight. I'm sorry. The FPV Cycle Glide. F40 Pro 4 motors. Can't argue with that. But the big thing about it is he's got these 15 millimeter standoffs that slam the frame, make it more durable. And he's got a very interesting tune that involves both dynamic idle and thrust linear. It flies pretty good. The 15 millimeter looks more manageable than I normally would have thought, although he does have the flight controller up front and the ESC in the middle, which only works if you have a 20 millimeter flight controller, which, as you know, I'm ideologically opposed to. Steele and I would not call us enemies. I would not, if we were enemies, I just wouldn't talk. Is there anybody in FPV that you never hear me acknowledge? Like, even if you ask a question about them, I just ignore you and pretend they don't exist. No. I will actually be in Atlanta next weekend for a fly day related to the Flow State movie. And Ciati's going to be there. Steele's going to be there. Stingy's going to be there. Bachgrinder's coming into town. I believe Tommy's coming. We're all going to go out and fly, and I'm going to, film some stuff for the movie. Austin Connect, thank you for a $5 super chat. Are the new class of 4-inch long-range quads pointless if you're using a DJI transmitter? No, not at all, Austin. You will get more range with Crossfire, but the DJI transmitter has as much range as the DJI goggles do. So they're basically the same data link. You can get more range and more reliable range with Crossfire. I personally prefer Crossfire plus DJI as opposed to the DJI controller, but that's more because the ergonomics and the OpenTX operating system are preferable to me. Absolutely not. You can do a few kilometers on the DJI transmitter, no problem. Maybe a day at the range could talk about that a little more, although I don't know. Jeremiah Blackwell, me and Trappy have had our problems in the past. For the time being, I think we are on good terms. I don't want to say anything that screws that up. But for the time being, we're on good terms. Yeah, he gave me the reveal of the multi-protocol module, which was I thought was a very good show of, like, you know, like an olive branch, if you will. He was like, look, we got this multi-protocol module coming out, and I'm going to give you one of the prototypes and let you do a reveal video on the day of release. So I was like, oh, that's very nice of you. Thank you. I think one thing I've figured out is that you can have a personal beef with somebody or a business beef with somebody, but it is never good to take that into the sort of court of public opinion. And people who do that, I mean, maybe not never. Like, there are times when I suppose maybe you have to make a statement and like you have to address something head on. But in general, like, nobody benefits when you take personal or business beefs and you make them public. It's tough because, like, when you review products, sometimes, like, I'm going to go back. I'm going to risk stirring up more drama and upsetting the balance of the force. But, like, my review of the Arum Polar antenna, I feel like I've done videos that were critical of TBS products, like my TBS Unified power testing. That was just wrong. The results were incorrect. The test methodology was incorrect. I released that. He was like, "You're full of it." I went back. I was like, "Oh, he's right." And I took those results down, and he had no choice but to address that head on and to say, "Bardwell's full of it. He's wrong." He had no choice. Compare that to the Arum Polar antenna, which I feel like I did my due diligence and I stand by those results. But again, what are you going to do if somebody reviews one of your products and they say this product doesn't do what it says it does and you shouldn't buy it? As the manufacturer, well, one thing you could do is you could say, oh, crap, he's right. I mean, if that's how you feel. And the other thing you could do is you could say he's full of it. And so whenever you're reviewing products, there's always going to be a potential to butt heads with somebody in public. I have had other manufacturers come to me in private and say, so the thing is, if I release a video and you think I've misrepresented one of your products or I've got a facts wrong, and you come out in public and you go, he's full of it, he doesn't know what he's talking about, he's dumb, he's ugly, he smells bad. At that point, the back channel is kind of dead. Now we're having a tiff. So I have reviewed products before, and the manufacturer reaches out to me in private and they say, "Hey, we think you got this wrong," and I would go, "Oh, yeah, maybe you're right." But the point is this: people, when mommy and daddy are arguing, people have two reactions. One is they go in the corner and they cry and they go, "Mommy, Daddy, stop fighting." And the other is they take a side and they get behind and they start throwing punches. And neither of those is good for anybody because the fight has nothing to do with you. You hear people talk about so-and-so took my money or owes me money or did me dirty in business. And it's like, you don't know anything about what actually happened. You're just picking a side. Nobody needs to hear that. Okay. So, I'm happy to have an open channel of communication with somebody like Trappy, where if there's a problem, instead of having to fight it out in public, we have a way to talk about it, and then nobody has to deal with this nonsense. Oh. How do you calibrate RSSI on the XM Plus? Sir Clean FPV, in order to calibrate RSSI, you would need a reference value to calibrate it to. And I don't think that exists. RSSI is more or less a relative value, somewhere around 40 to 45 RSSI. You fail safe, but what are you going to calibrate it to? You can calibrate in Betaflight CLI. There's a parameter RSSI underscore scale, RSSI scale. You can calibrate it up or down, but the question is, what are you calibrating it to? And I don't think you know. The Dark Knight, thanks for a $5 super chat. Thanks for helping me directly via social media when I was a noob. You the best. Can I fly my 6S quads with 4S batteries? Yeah, they just won't have as much power, but it's not as bad as you think it would be. Guillermo Nespolo, thank you for 50 Argentinian pesos, I believe. Peter, it's back. I don't know what that means, so I'm hesitant to read it. Callie C, thank you for a $20 super chat. Just finished my first build and set up start to finish with no issues using many of your videos. And I've been in the air for over a month. So far, so good. Yes, feel very fortunate, grateful. Wanted to say thank you. Thank you for the donation, Callie C. Aber the Ham, thanks for $2. Mr. Bedo Tube, also a username I feel is risky to read out loud. Thank you for €5. Austin Connect, got you. James Warwood, thank you for £5. 3100 kV motors on a Cinewhoop. What 6S would you recommend? What 6S battery? I mean, what I have seen, James. Oh, you got a Cinewhoop, not a 4-inch. I think what like Tommy is using and his Cinewhoops is between like 550 and 850. The thing is, you can put a big heavy battery on it and it'll fly like crap, but it'll get long flight times. You really have to tailor it to the mission. If you need more agility, you're going to use a lighter battery like a 550. If you need longer flight time, you're going to use a heavier battery like an 850 or maybe even 1000. It just depends on what you're doing. Mustang Pilot 1, thank you very much for a $5 donation and a very complimentary super chat, which out of my own sense of humility I will decline to read out loud, but thank you. That's very kind of you. A Day at the Range, thank you for a $25 super chat. 9 more days until A Day at the Range picks the winner of a set of DJI goggles. A Day at the Range is giving away a set of goggles, and he's actually a moderator. He can post the link to his channel if he wants. He's doing a giveaway of 3 sets of DJI goggles to try and build his channel up, I guess. It's an expensive way to build your channel, but more power to you. If you want to get in on his giveaway, he can post a link to his channel here in the chat. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Thank you for a $5 super chat. What is the obsession with changing antennas on the DJI goggles? I have 3 air units that go well over a mile. Yeah, the default antennas aren't terrible, although sometimes they break internally and you don't know until your range just sucks. You can get better range with a patch antenna, though. If you're going over a mile and you're happy with the results you're getting, then you don't need to change the antennas. One advantage of an antenna, though, like the Axie HD or the iFlight Crystal, is its lower profile, and it just goes, you don't have to take the antenna off when you put it away in your backpack, which is certainly nice. Jeremy Sarge in the regular chat wants to know, if you broke the glass optic lens on your DJI goggles, will DJI help? Do they sell parts? Jeremy Sarge, they do not, as far as I know, sell spare parts, but they will take them back and fix them for you. I know this is so weird. In FPV, we don't expect this, but DJI is actually a proper consumer goods company. They will repair your goggles and send them back to you fixed. I know, what a concept. You do have to mail them off, though. Can you change over a Whoop AIO from built-in receiver to Crossfire? I mean, as long as it's got a spare UART, yes. And I assume most of them have a spare UART. Lots of talk going on right now about TBS Tracer and TBS Crossfire. It's complicated. The big question is, here's a thought that I have about it. And again, we will talk more about TBS Tracer and TBS Crossfire and Immersion RC Ghost Tuesday at 6 p.m. Yes, election night in the U.S. Go figure. But I picked Tuesday, and I'm just sticking with it. Tuesday at 6 p.m., me and It's Blunty are going to start my new live news segment. We're going to take the news that I normally do at the beginning of a live stream, and we're just going to do it for you guys. We will be talking about Tracer and Crossfire and so forth. One question to ask yourself is, am I unhappy with my Crossfire experience? So Tracer goes up to 250 hertz. Crossfire only goes up to 160 hertz. It's like 3 milliseconds versus 4 milliseconds. Oh. And on top of that, I mean, people in Europe with the 868 megahertz, some of them are like, Crossfire, it's so good, but also so annoying. Those people may be really motivated to move to Tracer. But like for me, I have like 20 Crossfire receivers scattered throughout a bunch of different quads. I'm not going to like rip all that out and put Tracer in. It's working fine for me. I have no complaints, except the big antenna. I would like a 2.4 gig antenna. But I'm not, People are like, should I be getting Tracer? Well, I mean, if you're happy with Crossfire, maybe don't like, maybe wait until there are some real world tests before you jump on it. Or just jump on it. Who cares? The good news is that they are both based on the same mature product line. Like just changing out the frequency and the modulation doesn't make it not a Crossfire. It's still Crossfire, and it's still really mature and really robust. And that certainly is worth something. Have I had a chance to check out the Moon Goat frame? I have not seen it in person. Actually, I have seen it in person. Cricket showed me one of the prototypes like a year ago. Tiago Ramos says TBS Tracer is good for racers, not a Crossfire replacement. Tiago, it may be particularly good for racers because of its low latency, but if it has enough range to outrun your video, then it may be a Crossfire replacement for a typical pilot. For long distance, Crossfire 900 megahertz will still win. The Moon Goat frame, this is Cricket's signature frame, and Cricket has tailored it for toughness, okay? But here's the interesting thing. I was shocked to find out, according to this product listing, which presumably is accurate, you guys can't read that, it's supposed to weigh 110 grams. What the F? That's like close to the weight of a Hyperlight or an FPV Cycle Glide. How can this thing, is that right? An FPV Cycle, there's the Glide Light, which is like 85 grams, but the standard FPV Cycle Glide is like 105, 110 grams. Is that right, Siati? Check me on that. Siati weighed it, 100... I cannot understand. I am kind of annoyed because I am working on my new, now that my flight controller, my JBF7 is out, I'm working on the new Perfect Freestyle build. And I have pretty much settled on the Glide as the frame of choice. But I'm probably not going to change gears to like a brand new frame that is completely untested in the market versus I keep saying Hyperlight, it's FPV Cycle now, versus the Glide, which is just so thoroughly tested. But geez, this looks like a really tough frame at 110 grams. Like, I don't know how it's 110 grams. It looks really, I mean, Tommy don't make no junk. I can't believe, I couldn't believe when I heard this was only 110 grams. That's what I'll say. The center bottom doesn't seem to have a lot of carbon. Is that true? Let's see if we can have another picture. This is the top. So I see one way he's saved weight. This is clever or dumb, I don't know. But he's milled out. He's doing 3D milling, and he's milled out a lot of the top plate. Not all the way through. So you kind of still have some strength, but he's milled a lot of that away. Doesn't look like there's a ton of dead weight in the middle. It's kind of missing stuff in the middle. And I think he's running Vista. He's not running Air Unit, but that's okay with me. This looks like a really cleverly designed frame. Tommy did some really clever work here to balance strength and lightweight. The arms are pretty narrow. They do have straight arms. I will say one thing I like about the Apex is that it has sort of tapered arms, and I feel like that gives more strength. The arms don't look super thin. I bet they hold up. It's an interesting frame. It's an interesting frame. And people ask me, why don't you design a frame? Why don't you design a frame, Bardwell? And I'm like, I look at a frame like the Moon Goat, and I'm like, there's freaking wheels turning in Umagod's head that I don't even know exist. I'm just like, forget it. I couldn't do a better job than that. Synthetic asks, wasn't there an issue with resonance and the glide? I will say that I've heard people complain that there's a resonance issue with the glide. I looked at the spectrum for my Hyperlight. I keep saying Hyperlight. Sorry, Bob. With the FPV Cycle Glide, and I didn't have any resonance issues. So not me. Maybe it's the Glide Lite, perhaps. 2.5D milling. I don't know, guys. Maybe that's not... I guess that's not technically 3D milling, is it? The first time I heard of this was to call it... I mean, I guess it is... Is it 3D milling? You're not coming in from a third axis, but you're not going all... You do have the third dimension of height. So, like, I don't know what CNC experts would say, but, like, when I think 2D milling, I think X and Y axis. Well, here we've got a Z-axis component, too. Isn't that 3? They're saying 2.5D. Okay. Because you're not actually milling into the third dimension. You're just changing the Z height. Well, anyway. Oh, boy. What frame was that? That was the Moon Goat. The Moon Goat frame by Umagod. Grip. Let me give you a link to the Moon Goat frame by Umagod so you can check that out. Here it is. Michael Neubacher, thank you for €5. Can I send you a support request for my quad by email? Yeah. I will not be trying to solve it. I mean, Michael Neubacher, you can send me a request. I usually don't like to do in-depth troubleshoots on stream because like 800 people are just sitting there waiting while I'm like asking you a question, then it takes you 45 seconds to respond. So I don't like to do like in-depth troubleshoots. If it's an easy question, you're more than welcome to ask it, and I'll answer it. I'm going to now bring up my email and look for an email from Michael. This is probably going to be a disaster. It's probably not going to work. But Michael, you're always I will answer it in email one way or the other. I always go out of my way to try to answer all the questions I get in my emails. Okay. Martin K, thanks for €5 in the super chat. How can I display Crossfire LQ in the DJI OSD? Martin, here's the answer. I got to make a freaking video about this because I keep answering this question. Hang on. I keep answering this question. And like the 5th time I answer a question, I just need to make a video about it. The thing is that, have I already got this? No. No. Okay. We're going to put that, we're going to move that from incoming to approved. And that means I'm going to make that video. Here's what you do. The DJI goggles cannot read the LQ value directly, so what you need to do is use the old RSSI aux channel method. In the Crossfire script, set like aux4 channel 8 to LQ. Then in Betaflight, set that channel as your RSSI channel. Then the goggles read RSSI, but actually it's LQ. That's the answer. Ben T, thank you for a $5 super chat. Does TBS Tracer have a circular polarized antenna system, or is it linear like Crossfire? I am going to assume it's linear. Almost all control links are linear, if not all. The antennas look linear to me, although you can't always be 100% sure. A Day at the Range, thank you for a $10 super chat. Full transparency, the goggles were given to me as part of a deal most of you know about. They didn't know what I was going to do with them. They thought I was just going to use them. Oh, I see. So in case you guys don't know the background, A Day at the Range built a hardware hack that got HDMI output from the DJI goggles. And then before he could release it to the public, DJI reached out to him, and to their credit, instead of threatening to sue him, they paid him an undisclosed sum of money and bought the technology from him and then buried it. So we are not getting A Day at the Range's HDMI output from goggles, and he got some money, which he then generously donates to me in the super chats. But apparently they also gave him some goggles, which he's giving away on his channel. So if you want to get in on that, just he'll post the link, I guess. He claims, well, Gregory Hurst, everybody's so skeptical of what he did. He's giving away 3 sets of goggles on his channel. Like, do you think he just spent $1,500 in goggles and is giving them away just to support the lie that he built an HDMI output system? I mean, the skepticism is... Anyway. My question is, why does DJI care if he makes... Let's assume that he is not just yanking our chain. He's not trolling us. Let's assume that he built some kind of a firmware/hardware hack that would have given HDMI output from the goggles. Why does DJI care? Why did they pay him to prevent him from releasing that? I've never been clear on this. I've never been clear on why they don't do that. Let me tell you what, Craig Marshall, spending money on giveaways to get subscribers is a terrible, terrible choice. Not that it doesn't work, but you spend, let's say you spend $1,000 to buy giveaway stuff, and you end up paying. Do you pay $1 per subscriber? If you spend $1,000 on a giveaway and you get 1,000 subscribers, that you did really well. So you're paying $1 to $2 or maybe more dollars per subscriber, essentially. You don't get that back in revenue because those subscribers, they don't watch your stuff. That's the thing. Doing giveaways to get subscribers is risky. Let's just say it's risky. You can get subscribers who have no interest in your content. They just want to get in on the giveaway. And having subscribers, what then happens is that YouTube shows the subscribers your videos. They're like, hey, you want to watch this video? And they just scroll by. And YouTube goes, oh, I see. Nobody likes this guy's videos. It's why having a viral video can be one of the worst things that happens to your channel. Like, if I make a video and it goes viral and it gets 10 million views, the problem is I'll get a ton of subscribers and I'll get a ton of revenue from that one video. But those subscribers don't give a damn about FPV. They were just interested in this one video that happened to go viral. And then all of a sudden my engagement goes way down because now all these people are being shown my video and they're not watching it. So buying subscribers through a giveaway is actually not a good way to get subscribers, in my opinion. Using a giveaway to incentivize your existing viewers to subscribe, that can be good. And if you're starting out and don't have any viewers at all, just trying to get sort of over the hump of critical mass, it could be a way to do it, but it's tough. Anyway, he's doing a giveaway. He's doing a giveaway. I guess I just explained why. Yeah, I don't think A Day at the Range is like, I don't think he's like trying to get his YouTube channel kicked off. I think he just has some goggles that he got from DJI, and he's like, let's do a giveaway because he's just excited to do it. That's how I read it. Peter, thank you for €5. Ethan Mitchell, thank you for $5. Do you think DJI will release the mod for HDMI out when SharkBite takes off with free HDMI out? Ethan, that's a very good question. That is a great way to... That shows that you have a deep understanding of what DJI has done in the past. And I almost said you understand DJI's mindset, but who knows what's going on in like secret meetings inside DJI. But what we've seen is that DJI has been very quick to address competitive weaknesses, is what I'm saying. So DJI won't release HDMI out. Why? I don't know. They just say they won't do it. We know they have an HDMI output box that they have internally. We know that. That's been used at exhibition events before when DJI was promoting itself when they first came out. So we know it exists, but they won't give it to us. But then if SharkBite comes out and DJI perceives a threat, then they'll just do it. And that's what we've seen. DJI just like snaps their fingers and suddenly we have 50 megabits per second mode. It's just like if they decide they're going to do it, then they just do it. It's why I say that Fat Shark cannot beat DJI at DJI's own game. Because DJI has all the money in the world and will just do whatever they need to get what they want. Fat Shark has to compete in areas that DJI cannot, like being lower price. Although DJI could also just lower their price and take a loss for a while if they wanted to. Not saying they would do that, but... Guillermo Nespolo, thank you for 50 Argentinian pesos. I am testing SharkBite 2. That's SharkBite. SharkBite 2 is SharkBite. The other one was Bitefrost. That's what I'm testing. That review will come out Monday, tomorrow. Will I review TBS Tracer? Willie, I will be talking with It's Blunty on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It's already scheduled on my channel. We will be doing a weekly news segment, and this week we're going to talk about, among other things, Tracer versus Crossfire versus Ghost. I have to get a Tracer before I can test it, though. So I don't have it. Any advice on removing grass stains from a quad? Asked Will Garcia. No, don't. Who cares? I don't. I'm sorry. I know not everybody feels that way. I don't clean any of my quads. The only cleaning I do is to clean the lens so I can see to fly. Or if the motors are so gunked up with dirt that they're a risk. I don't care if my quads are dirty. I just want to fly them. I don't care what they look like. And I have no advice on cleaning them because I don't clean them. Ethan Mitchell. Let's see. Got you. Golden FPV. Newbie Drone Vivid. Is it any good? Flying video. Are they good? The Newbie Drone Vivid. I have the Newbie Drone Vivid frame. I did a build with it. I will say that I don't know if they fixed this yet. But my Vivid frame, I broke an arm. I broke an arm right here 2 times in a row in a relatively mild crash. I mean, it was a crash, like falling out of tree branches to the ground. So like not going 80 miles an hour into the ground. Like you crash and you're in the tree and you turtle mode and it falls 20 feet to the ground. Boom, and it breaks an arm. I broke an arm one time and I thought, well, maybe bad luck. And then the exact same thing, it broke in the exact same spot. And I said to Newbie Drone, your frame has a weakness. The arm breaks in that one spot. And they said, we know, we'll fix it. Now, have they fixed it yet? I don't know. But for you ask, you know, are you flying your Vivid frame? How's it flying? It flies good. It's a very clever frame. Like what they've done to try and get the props out of view is very clever. But at the moment, I am not flying it because the arms were breaking in that one spot. And I feel like it has a weakness. Unless they have like a Vivid V2 where they fixed it, I stand by that conclusion. Michael Newbacher, did I get your support request? See, I don't even know, Michael. There it is. There it is. I found it. No, see, Michael Newbacher. Michael, your problem is that your receiver isn't working, and that is going to be a long, not like long, I don't want you to get the wrong idea, but we're going to have to go down a troubleshooting flow chart where I'm going to ask you questions, you're going to answer, I'm asking more questions. We're not going to do that on a live stream, but thank you for your donation, Michael. Best budget action camera, asks Maxime L. GoPro Session Refurbish or GoPro Hero 6 or Hero 7, depending on your budget, refurb. I mean, that's the honest answer, in my opinion. Is there an easy way to calibrate the current sensor? Joe Reagan, if your Nazgul is reading 170 amps at idle, you may have the wrong... That's just so far off that it feels like it's not a calibration issue. Maybe you have the wrong current sensor selected. That's just so far off. I think something is really whacked out. What's the difference between the iFlight Nazgul V1 and V2? The V2 is better. I think they've upgraded the video transmitter on the V2. And did they change the frame geometry? I'm not sure. They upgraded the parts. The V2 is better. If you can get the V2, get it. Patrick No is trying to get an SPM 4651T to work with his T-motor flight controller. The signal pad, the SPM 4651 is... The SPM 4651 is that's an SRXL2. Yeah. So the SPM 4651 is an SRXL2 receiver. SRXL2 goes to the TX pad. Goes to the TX pad on the flight controller, not the RX pad. Not the S-Bus pad either. It goes to the TX pad like TX1. And you need to type... Hang on. You need to type... Set serial RX half duplex equals on and save. Those are the two things that you need to do to get an SR. And of course, set SRXL2 as your protocol. Not SRXL, SRXL2. Thank you, It's Blunty, for helping out in the Discord as well. I thought you were working on Sundays, It's Blunty. Is Crossfire Shot... Oh, I lost it. Is Crossfire Shot something good to try out right now with the nightly build from TBS, or should I wait for an OpenTX 2.4? Well, Chris, don't wait for OpenTX 2.4 because OpenTX 2.4, who knows when it's coming? It's been coming forever. I wish it would come soon. Crossfire Shot, I do think I felt like I noticed a difference. It could have just been placebo. I can't promise you that. I felt like the reduced latency was noticeable, and I feel like it's you want it. I personally fly my freestyle quads locked at 160 hertz. It does significantly reduce the range, but it's still like enough range that I don't fail safe much ever. Like I can't think of any time I fail safed my Crossfire. But normally on 50 hertz, Crossfire is basically fail safe proof unless you have like a wrecked antenna. On 160 hertz, you sometimes will get like a LQ warning, depending on what you're doing. But especially if you're at 500 milliwatts or 1 watt, you're fine. So I think Crossfire Shot with 160 hertz at like 500 milliwatts or 1 watt is the way to be. And it's just a good thing. SAC14 SAC14 save. How can I get my iFlight A85 to fly longer and more powerful? You want longer and you want more powerful. Those two things usually don't come together, man. Usually if you want longer, you give up power. Can't have both. You have 5,000 kV motors on it. Are you flying, what are you flying, 3S? 5,000 kV 3S, I guess? The way to get longer flight time is to have less weight or a bigger battery. Less weight will give you more flight time unless you get less weight by going to a smaller battery. Larger battery will give you longer flight time, but it'll fly like crap. Buy more batteries. Just swap batteries more often. PS Ariel, thanks for $5. PS Ariel wants me to swig from the bottle. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing super chats for shots. That doesn't end anywhere good. So we're gonna say no to that. Thank you. Thank you for your donation. How does the long-range quad perform between X and Dead Cat? Is there a difference or added value with one or the other? Niels Ewan, thank you for asking that. Dead Cat gets the props out of view. That's the main advantage. As far as performance goes, I don't think there's a big advantage. But I will say this. The iFlight Chimera 4-inch, Patrick from iFlight said he consistently got like 10% longer flight time on the Dead Cat bottom plate compared to the X. Hard to imagine why, but he said it was consistent. Blind FPV wants to know, for Crossfire shot, do you run dynamic power 500 milliwatts or set the power so you get more consistent LQ, RSI, etc.? Blind FPV, the most consistent situation will be fixed output power, so you don't get a little glitch when the output power changes. Personally, I run dynamic because if you're running 1 watt all the time, it just sucks your battery down. So I run dynamic. There was a time when people said dynamic could cause fail-safes. I think that's pretty much not true anymore. I haven't experienced any fail-safes related to it. If you're looking at the black box, you might notice a little glitch in the RC command trace when the power changes. I'm not saying you will. Maybe you won't, but I run 1 watt dynamic. I'll tell you the exception to that. I have like a lavalier mic. Well, I'm not going to take it out, but I have a lavalier mic that I wear around my neck when I'm recording videos. And when I do that, I turn the Crossfire down to 250 milliwatts. Because if I'm holding the controller and it goes to 1 watt, the lavalier mic picks up interference. And then it's no good. So that's about the only time I do turn it down. Seth Patton suggests that the Dead Cat got longer flights because the imbalanced CG reduces max power and works like a throttle limit. Seth Patton, what you're describing could happen, but the test flights that Patrick described to me were not aggressive test flights. Basically, what he said he was doing is take off and just fly ovals around a field slowly and measure how long of a flight you get. And at that point, like, something about the frame geometry is affecting the efficiency of the motors, but he's not at the motor limit, so the CG imbalance wouldn't really play into it. Yemen Akhtar Mohammed wants to know, will DJI be releasing a second version of the DJI goggles soon, or should I get the system now? I mean, you can't. That's always the question. Everybody's worried that if they pull the trigger now, then a month later DJI will release some new thing. DJI hasn't released anything new in a while, but I said previously that the typical product life cycle for DJI is like 18 months. If that were true, we would be looking at new DJI goggles somewhere in spring of 2021. So, I've said that for 6 months now. Nothing has happened. And it's getting closer to that time. But how could you possibly know, right? How could you possibly know? There's always a risk that if you pull the trigger now, something will come out. We're going into the holiday season. They did a Father's Day sale. The other thing people are wondering is, are they going to do a Black Friday sale? Like, DJI hasn't put their FPV system on sale hardly ever. Like, why did they do a Father's Day? Why Father's Day? Who cares about father? I mean, I'm a father, but why a Father's Day sale? I have no idea. I feel like right now, if I were thinking about buying, at least I would be tempted to wait for Black Friday to see if there was a big sale. But as far as are they going to release a new product, no one can know. It is the 18-month product life cycle is roughly spring of March 2021. So the closer it gets to March, the more I start wondering, is it coming? But then the pandemic happened. So for all we know, because of the pandemic, sales slowed down and their R&D slowed down. And the other question is, why would they release a new product? Like, who's their competition that's going to drive them to innovate? And then again, they keep releasing new firmware updates. For why? I don't know. Just because. Who could tell what they're going to do? Certainly not me. Oh, it's so beautiful out there right now. You guys, every Sunday it's gorgeous weather and I'm like, maybe I won't stream today. Shun FPV says, I have the R9M, the FreeSky R9M Access 2019. Is it enough? Or do I have to switch to Crossfire? Honestly. Yeah, Shun, here's the thing. If you have FreeSky R9 and it is working and you are happy with it, stick with it. The performance of R9 when it works is acceptable. Maybe even great. I don't know. More than most people need. Let's just say that. The reason that I steer people away from FreeSky R9 is that the firmware management in R9 is really a struggle for a lot of people. Which firmware is compatible with what firmware is on my receiver, flashing the firmware to the receiver, all of that. If you don't have the over-the-air flashing, especially, if you have the OTA flash, it's a little easier, but even still, with Crossfire and with Immersion RC Ghost, there's no firmware issue. You power up, you bind. If the firmware doesn't match, it flashes over the air. You'd never have to plug it into the computer or any of that BS. And there's never a question, is the firmware that's on my receiver compatible with the firmware that's on my module? Because the module just updates the receiver at the time that you bind. It takes 3 minutes and then it's done. And having helped so many people get their FreeSky R9 to bind, I just feel that. And so if it's working for you, that's fine. Crossfire is better. The usability and the features are better. Is the range better? I couldn't say. I will say the RC link quality of Crossfire is also way better. FreeSky, the people, the devs and the tuners who spend time looking at black box logs, R9 is all over the place. It's inconsistent in its packet timing, and it causes imperceptible to most people issues with the PID loop, whereas Crossfire is way more consistent. So Crossfire is better. If you were buying today, I would say get Crossfire or get Ghost. Don't get FreeSky. If you had FreeSky and you were like, how can I get it bind? It's driving me crazy with the firmware and the nonsense. Which receiver should I buy? And should I just go to Crossfire? I'd be like, yeah, just go Crossfire. But if you're happy with it, stick with it. It works. Thomas Newgum says, my OSD is not showing the correct battery voltage. I plug in a fully charged battery and it shows 3.9 volts even if I fly it completely empty. I'm going to guess, Thomas, that your flight controller is powered from like a 4-volt regulator or a 5-volt regulator. The place where I see this is if you take a 5-volt power source and you power the flight controller from 5 volts, but you're feeding it in on the VBAT line. So the flight controller thinks battery voltage is 5 volts. Now, why are you reading 4 volts? Maybe your voltage is not calibrated right? But I think your flight controller is not actually being powered from VBAT. It's being powered from 4 volts, so it's just showing you what it actually has. XX601 in the Discord asks, is the Mamba F405 Mini Mark III with 35 amp ESC suitable for the Beta FPV 2004 3000 kV motors. That's I can't vouch for that. All of those all-in-ones, what props are you running on them? That's, I guess, my question. I think that's iffy. I think a 35 amp BSC. I'm going to assume with 2004 you're running 5-inch motors or 5-inch props, maybe 4-inch. I think you're on the edge there. With 4-inch props, maybe. But I couldn't specifically vouch for the diatone. Oh, 5125. That's iffy. I know that people do it. I have had a diatone ESC pop on me by turtle moding too much. Okay, so I think you're on the edge there, man. Maybe the iFlight Beast with a 55 amp rating would be a better choice. Frank Nicholas says, I was one of the pre-testers for your F7 flight controller. I use DJI. My OSD voltage is off. Yeah, Frank, the beta target had an incorrect voltage scale. The voltage scale should be 110. It was 100. So that's why your voltage is reading low. Change it to 110. It should be pretty accurate. Joe Reagan wants to know, will the Attitude V6 fit a TBS Fusion? Yeah, Joe Reagan, the Attitude V6 basically has a Dominator shell. So, yeah, it'll fit a TBS Fusion. Oh, the Attitude... Oh, you guys didn't know this. My patrons know about this because my patrons have actually already seen the Sharkbite video. Yeah, I released it a little early for patrons. I haven't put it out on my channel yet. And in that Sharkbite video, I also do a reveal of the Attitude V6, a new goggle coming from Fat Shark. Fat Shark was like, yeah, we're going to send you the Sharkbite. Oh, by the way, we also sent the Attitude V6. And I was like, oh, you're making a new goggle. Isn't that interesting? You guys want to know about the Attitude V6? Nah, who cares about that? I mean, I guess I'll watch the comments and see. Oh, yeah, maybe you do. Attitude V6. What if I told you it was not OLED, but LCOS display? What would you think? XXX601 4-inch props would be a little easier on it. How much is it? I don't have a price. Why LCOS? Because price. LCOS is not as good as OLED. Yeah, that's true. It's also cheaper. It does have adjustable diopters. Anna P, it does have adjustable diopters. What is LCOS? It's a display technology. Liquid crystalline silicon is what it stands for. It is not. Attitude V5 is OLED, but it's a weird resolution. It's a 1610 resolution, which I hate. Attitude V6 is a standard 4:3 resolution, but it's LCOS. Where's the plus over the V5? The resolution is higher, and the field of view is standard. The aspect ratio, rather. I don't know the field of view, the numerical field of view. Is it the shape the same? It's a standard Dominator shell. When is the Sharkbite review coming out? Crazy Sam. Tomorrow, Crazy Sam. What happened to the Sharkbite video? Nothing happened to the Sharkbite video. It's still unlisted and at the same URL that I gave my patrons previously. Nothing happened. It's still there. You know, it's just sitting there. Rather than all these questions, why not just tell us about it? Well, it's a live stream. You ask questions, I answer questions. Are you happy enough with Ghost to not make more tests or reviews of it? Well, Well, I mean, I made a lot of videos about it in a very short burst. I guess the question would be, what is the next thing that needs to be said about it? As far as link quality goes and so forth, it's good. Maybe we'll do an update in a little while when they have a new hardware or a new firmware that really releases something big. But the thing with Ghost is now we need to see it get adopted. We need people to beat on it. And we need to see 6 months from now what the Ghost ecosystem looks like. Ghost versus Crossfire versus Tracer. Indeed. Tracer versus Ghost video soon. Indeed. When is Betaflight adding support for Ghost? Very soon. Right? I think it's been approved in the betas. It just hasn't rolled out yet. Can you change output power on the Radio Master? Tyler Harris. Not the 2.4 gig module. No, it's fixed. SST FPV thinks TBS is shooting themselves in the foot with Tracer. That's an interesting question, SST. Why do you say that? Lars Smith, thank you for a $5 super chat. Tiago Cardoso, thank you for a €5 super chat. Does the Access FreeSky protocol have more output power and range on FCC than LBT? I think so, because LBT, I know LBT reduces the telemetry power. I don't think it reduces the control link power, though, but I'm not 100% sure. I think LBT does not allow you to have full power telemetry when you're up in the air, but from the grounds, maybe somebody in chat or Discord can confirm this. Does LBT have reduced power from the radio or just from the telemetry receiver? Still looking for why TBS is shooting themselves in the foot. Why did you say that? Maybe TBS is getting ahead in the race over Ghost, asks AA. Here's the thing. My opinion, I think, I mean, we haven't got a Tracer module to pull open to verify this, but both Ghost and Crossfire use the same chip. The Semtech chip that does low raw and all that stuff. Ghost is doing it at 2.4 gig. Crossfire is doing it down in 900 megahertz, but I believe it's the same chip. And then Tracer comes along, and I'm pretty sure it's using the same chip as well, but we don't know that for sure. If you believe that Tracer and Ghost are using the same chip to do their sort of modulation, then it's only a question of firmware to make the chip do whatever it is that it does. Perhaps obviously the hardware design factors into it. If you have a poor analog circuit design, your radio will have a higher internal noise, for example, and your range will be reduced. So that's not to say that just because two different products use the same chip that they're going to have the same performance. But the chip defines the capabilities. So let's say that Tracer is doing a particular modulation. Yeah, Skidoo says Tracer is not using low raw. That's true. It's not. I mean, I'm not sure why that's a good thing, but there is some arguments for it. Hang on. What is it using? It is, I can't remember the freaking name of the modulation. So it's believed by people who know about the chip that they're using that Tracer is using FLRC modulation. What is that? I don't know. It's a different kind of modulation than the low raw modulation. But the point is, now Pavel Spakowski says Tracer is low raw, but that's because Pavel is doing link budget calculations based on the assumption that Tracer. So TBS said Tracer went 45 kilometers, and Pavel Spakowski says, well, they couldn't do that using the FLRC modulation. And that assumes a certain output power. But then Trappy is like, What makes you think we were using 100 milliwatts? The implication being that they just had a higher output power than is available at launch time. So I don't think Pavel is right. If Trappy says they're not doing low raw, I think he's not just lying. So they're doing this. If we assume they're doing this FLRC modulation, if that turns out to be a good thing, then Immersion RC can just go, oh, okay, we're going to use FLRC too. They're both using the same chip, I think. And that means that at their heart, they both have access to the same toolbox of capabilities. It doesn't mean that they're both. It's a great analogy. Let's say you have two carpenters, and one of them has a bandsaw and a table saw, right? And a drill, and another one has a hand chisel and a hammer. Well, those two carpenters are going to build you very different things. But if you give both of them the exact same toolbox, they're not going to build the same thing, but they're going to have the same tools available to them. And that's the interesting thing. When TBS says Tracer is not using low raw, oh, okay, well, if whatever you're doing turns out to be good, can Ghosts just go, okay, well, we're going to do it too? I don't know. Simon Weston, there is no politics allowed in my live stream. And if you do it again, I'm going to ban you. But for now, I'm going to time you out. Tracer is Crossfire just at 2.4 gig. That's not true, Greg Stewart. Crossfire at 50 hertz uses low raw modulation. Crossfire at 160 hertz uses FSK modulation. And Tracer is believed to use FLRC modulation. TBS will not confirm that, but people who know about the chipset that they are believed to use say that that's what they think it is. So there's two ways to look at this, and I think it's very interesting. One is that both Immersion RC and TBS have the same chip in their radio and have the same tools available to them. But the other is, and so therefore the performance should be the same. Aha. But the other argument is that the capability to use the tools, it can be very different. You could take a master carpenter and you give him a handsaw and a chisel and he will make you a beautiful piece of furniture. And you could take an amateur and give him all the tools in the world and he won't make you anything. So on the one hand, they're completely equal. And on the other hand, there's ample room for them to differentiate. So, we shall see. Zorro is here in the chat. Zorro. Always good to see Zorro coming out. Zorro. Zorro. I sent you reference photos 2 months ago. You're supposed to be, I mean, to be fair, I haven't paid you any money, so I have no right to yell at you. Make me a t-shirt, just graphic. Zorro. Golden FPV, thanks for a $2 super chat. What 5-inch quad do you prefer with the DJI Air unit? I mean, Hyperlight, I did it again. The FPV Cycle Glide is a good one. The Halo RC Osiris is another good one. Will you be switching to SharkBite for builds that allow you to use analog goggles? Thank you for a $10 super chat, Slappy. Look, Slappy, no matter how good SharkBite is, it's hard for me to imagine switching away from DJI. Because there's two main things. There's three. There's three main things in my mind that would steer somebody away from DJI. Number one is price. Well, lucky me. I'm a professional YouTuber. Price is not, it's not that I don't have to pay for things, but a lot of times I don't have to pay for things. And when I do have to pay for things, it's a business expense. Thank you, patrons. Patreon, link in the video description if you want to help me buy more DJI stuff. So price is not a concern for me. And number two, latency. It's not enough to make me switch away from that amazing 50 megabit per second image quality. SharkBite is better in terms of latency. And number three, weight and size. That's a thing. But from about 3-inch props on up, you're okay. If I was big into tiny whoops, you might see me. I think that Sharkbite could be really compelling on smaller quads because they have an unreleased single board video transmitter. It has a lower output power than the dual board one, and it weighs like 10 grams. That's kind of exciting. Racers will love Sharkbite. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Our DJI antennas polarized. Yeah, they're left-hand polarized, Sean is saying. It's Blunty points out that when you're talking about TBS range estimates, TBS says, we tested Tracer at 25 milliwatts to 25 kilometers. But they also say they tested Crossfire at 10 milliwatts to 50 kilometers. And I'm not saying they didn't. But I am saying that most people aren't going to go 50 kilometers on 10 milliwatt Crossfire. Like who knows what the exact conditions of that test were. So when they say Tracer was tested to 25 kilometers, that doesn't mean that you're going to get 25 kilometers if you just slap it on your quad. Game of Drones, thanks for a $2 super chat. Did No Shave November start early? The beautiful thing about having a beard is that when you don't shave, it's harder for people to tell. Super Deluxe, thanks for a $42 super chat. That's a big one. Thank you, Super Deluxe. Skadoosh is on the money, as usual. David Skadoosh says, be honest, 99% of you are not going over a kilometer. Thank you. Thank you. I hate to say this because people are, oh, what's the range of Tracer versus Crossfire versus Ghost? I don't care as long as it outruns my video. And I will bet you any amount of money, well, probably not any amount, I'll bet you that all three of them will outrun your video. So then the question, unless for 99% of people, so then the question becomes, what else do I care about? If we take range out of the equation, Tracer can go 57 kilometers. Well, Crossfire can go 132 kilometers. Well, Ghost could go 5 million miles. Who cares? Your video goes 2 kilometers, maybe 3. So then what? Then we have things like the refresh rate. Even the refresh rate is getting Crossfire's 4 milliseconds. Ghost is 3 milliseconds. Tracer is 2 milliseconds. Okay, we finally got latency down to the point where I'm just like, okay, I don't really care. Going from 25 milliseconds to 15 milliseconds matters. Going from 15 milliseconds down to like 4 milliseconds matters. I'm comfortable saying going from 4 milliseconds to 2 milliseconds doesn't matter. Especially because your video latency is 25 to 40 milliseconds typically. So that extra 2 milliseconds you saved, percentage-wise, it just doesn't matter. So latency kind of doesn't matter. Oh, I'm a racer, and I need 500 hertz updates. Okay, good for you. Good for you. Maybe. You know, because people say, oh, 144 hertz computer monitors, 240 hertz, doesn't matter. And Linus Tech Tips did a test with Shroud where they tested 60 hertz, 144 hertz, 240 hertz, and they found that the higher refresh rate monitors did give an advantage. Why? It didn't actually have to do with latency. It had more to do with like the smoothness of the image, but it did matter. So just because people say the difference couldn't possibly matter, people said that about One Shot, and they were wrong. But I'm okay saying going from 4 milliseconds to 2 milliseconds, I probably don't care. So then what do you care about? What do you care about? You care about features. You care about support. You care about having the damn receivers be in stock when you want to buy them, and other things. Clinton Edmondson, thank you for a £5 super chat. How many lost quads are there in the hills around your house? I have not permanently, knock on wood, lost any quads. A minor threat, thank you for a $5 super chat. Do you think DJI cost will go down in response to shark bite? I don't see it. I don't think DJI needs to compete on price compared to shark bite. I don't feel like DJI has any reason to believe that shark bite is a threat. On the other hand, DJI has so much engineering clout that they can just like snap their fingers. So let's say DJI looks at shark bite and goes, this is DJI. Or somebody down, hold on a second. There's somebody down there. Oh, hey guys, shark bite just came up. They have like low latency. Can we do that? Okay, low latency mode, done. What next? Like I feel like if they do, on the one hand, I don't feel like they have any motivation to compete because they're just such on another level in terms of performance. But on the other hand, it's so easy for them to compete because they have so much engineering clout that maybe they would do it anyway. I don't know. It really feels to me like DJI is mostly in a room with themselves doing whatever they think is best and not directly competing with anybody else and like responding to threats. Oh, don't time that guy out. Ciati, no need to time that guy out. Just hide from channel. Hide user on channel. That guy's gone. That's just a joke. Like I appreciate you guys not going crazy with hide user on channel and just timing people out. But that username can get I mean that's pretty obviously a troll. Skadoosh, what do you know? What do you know, Skadoosh? Skadoosh is always the one with the rumors. What do you know, Skadoosh? Rumors. Skadoosh talking about rumors of a new DJI. And there's been rumors of a DJI V2 for a long freaking time. Aunt D says, Trappy clearly stated Crossfire is still the everyday system. Tracer is the racer system. Aunt D, whenever TBS hedges at all, I get very suspicious because TBS is usually like, we are the best. We are so far ahead of everyone else. We are also simultaneously the underdog somehow. We're the best. We make the best stuff. We're the most popular. Everyone loves us. Also, we are the scrappy underdog who everyone shits on and steals our stuff. Okay. We are the best. And then when they release a new product, they're like, if there's any hedging, I'm like, why are you doing that? If they release a product, they're like, it's not for everybody. Like, okay, well, wait, that's very out of character for you. So if they say Crossfire is the everyday, this one's just for racers. But don't worry, it has all the range you could possibly want. Well, why is it just for racers then? I don't know. We have to see. Relationship with Trappy going down. Oh, Skadoosh, tell us in the chat. Tell us in the chat, Skadoosh. You outed yourself. Wait a minute. You outed yourself. The last time Skadoosh leaked something to me, Did I call him out by name? I can't remember. I might have. Anna P says Trappy didn't say that. Oh, well, okay. Maybe he didn't say that. The bottom line is, we got to get it. We got to test it. Right now, the only people who have said anything about Tracer are the internal testers. The same internal testers who didn't tell you that the Tango 2 not having a 2.4 gig module was going to be a problem. So, until it gets in the hands of people who aren't internal testers, we just don't know. Your Majesty says all motors spin equally in the Betaflight Motors tab, but when I arm and increase the throttle, the motor doesn't start or spin reliably. Is that a bad motor? No. Your Majesty, if the motors spin equally in the Betaflight Motors tab, then the motor and the ESC are generally healthy. If the motor twitches and doesn't start, your idle speed may not be high enough. Raise your idle percent. Alpha FPV says TBS on the live stream said it would be good for JB because Tracer would be good for JB because he doesn't fly long range. I think they're just so long range centric personally. That's a good insight. When TBS says, well, this is mostly for racers and freestylers, they mean you're not going to go 60 kilometers with it like we do on a daily basis. They're very focused on long range. So Sloopy FPV says Painless 360 reviewed it in a one-on-one with Trappy. I mean, he did an interview about it. Did he do a flight test? Any video that comes out on launch day, just be suspicious of. And I say that I have occasionally done launch day videos. Don't get me wrong. I did the launch day. I did a launch day video for the TBS multi-protocol module. But I stand by that statement. Any video that comes out on launch day, be suspicious of. Even mine. Because when you're working on a launch day video, number one, you're just on a time constraint. So, like, if there's a problem, they're not going to hold the product launch for you. You need to get the video done, and you need to have it ready to go on launch day. And so, but when you're doing a launch day video, there is not a mindset of, I'm going to tear this thing apart. A launch day video, you're like, it's coming, it's cool. I mean, I think people know that to a certain degree. The focus of a launch day video is, here is a new product, isn't it interesting? Oh, you know, like the Lion King, you hold it up and everybody looks at it and oohs and ahs. And then 3 weeks later, you get done testing it and you're like, well, here's the truth. Anna P wants to know if TBS can get lower latency with Crossfire shot with 900 megahertz. That's interesting. I mean, I'm not sure about that. There are limits to how high of a duty cycle they're allowed to use at 900 megahertz, especially in the EU. I guess there's always potential for squeezing a little more performance out, but I would speculate that they've gone as far as they feel safe going and can't go anymore. Medi Jaster, thank you for €5. I asked something in the Patreon chat I can't put in the Super Chat. Could you check it out? Let's look. I hope you have the same username. If not, there's no way I'm going to find it. Nope. I'm not going to find it. Let me just search real quick. Medi, like Jedi Master. Medi Jaster. Oh, there you are. What's your question, Medi Jaster? Nope. Where is it? Oh, man. I found a paste bin from you. No, that was like in July. No. I'm sorry, man. Oh, there it is. I have the EV800D goggles. I want to upgrade to the Skyo 2X. Maybe a better goggle in the same price point. Medijaster, the Skyo 2X is around $300. I don't think there's a better goggle in that price point. The Eachine EV300D, maybe. But I personally would go for the Sky Zone. I did a review. You can watch my review of it's a $300 goggle roundup. I mean, if you're willing to go to $400, you can get the Eachine EV300O, which are pretty decent. No, that's $450. That's a pretty big jump. I think the Skyo 2X is the one to get for $300. That's my opinion. Ryzix RCFPV, thanks for a $5 super chat. Charging on parallel board using 5 amps means that it's 5 amps to all batteries or 5 amps to each individual battery. Ryzix, when you're using a parallel charging board, all of the batteries act like one big battery. There is no there's no way for the charger to charge one battery at 5 amps and not any of the others. So it's 5 amps to all of the batteries, but then it is divided between the batteries roughly proportional to their capacity. So if you have 5 1,000 milliamp hour packs being charged at 5 amps in parallel, each one will get approximately 1 amp. There you go. Oh man, time has flown. Wow. It is 4 minutes to 3 p.m. and it is almost the end of the stream. Patrick MC trying to set Betaflight to use SRXL2. You need to be on Betaflight 4.2. Betaflight 4.1 didn't fully support SRXL2. Like, I think it did in the command line, but not the GUI. Patrick MC, if you're trying to use SRXL2, you need Betaflight 4.2. That's what you got to do. Do you think the 533 Micro is a good 3-inch mini legend? I mean, a whole lot of people think it's an amazing 3-inch. Who am I to disagree? Aaron Ciotti is going to be streaming at 3 p.m. in just about 3 minutes over on his channel. He has started posting the link to his stream. So when I get off the air, you can go over and watch him. In addition, if you're a patron and you're on the Discord, I will be playing Among Us on the Discord this afternoon. I'm usually there by about 15 after the hour because I got to go after the live stream, and I drink a lot on the live stream, so you can do the math. I will be streaming tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Tuesday night I will be doing a news live stream with Blunty, where we will go through the news of the week. We'll go through the news of the week, including more talk about Tracer. Didn't get enough of that. But when is OpenTX 2.4 coming out? Chrysostomos, no one knows. Any day now, or not. No one knows. I wish it was soon. Let's see. Will a fundraiser get OpenTX 2.4 moving? I have no idea. I mean, the devs, who knows what motivates them? I mean, there's only so much time in the world to work on these things. So. FreeSky R9 Express LRS. Yeah. So if you do have FreeSky R9 hardware, there is a thing out there called Express LRS. This is a video from UAV Tech going through how to do it. It's not for the faint of heart. It is not very user-friendly yet, but it is 200 hertz update rate using FreeSky R9 hardware. There's no going back, by the way. Once you flash it, you're stuck. You can't go back to FreeSky. I don't think you can flash it back. I could be wrong about that. I think that's right. But it is a high-frequency, high-range update. It is free. If you are able to get it going, it's pretty slick. And, you know, if you're deciding, if you're thinking, I'm done with FreeSky, I'm leaving, R9 has pissed me off for the last time. Well, you know, before you go spend a bunch of money on Crossfire, try Express LRS. I mean, you have to like compile the code yourself. So if that's a deal breaker, but I'm sure it'll get more user friendly. It is 3 p.m. That is going to do it for the live stream. Thank you so much to everybody for coming out. Thank you to everybody who donated in the super chats. Thank you to my beautiful patrons over in my Discord server. If you would like to be one of them, there's a link in the video description. You can support me for as little as $2 a month or more if you feel like I earned it, or less if you don't feel like I earned it. It's up to you. It's totally up to you. And I will see you guys throughout the week. Shark Bite review coming tomorrow on my channel. So, yeah, big week. And that other thing that isn't live till Wednesday. Happy flying, you guys.